the wrong way, so it is in this case not useful. So in this case, advantage, disadvantage is supposed to also be separated with paragraphs. Each paragraph talking about different points. And something else, linking words is very important with your own writing, because, or even in speaking actually, you can't give in the information without preparation to start your own speaking and writing. So speaking and writing here, just mention it, are what are outputting. So you are giving information, not receiving information, just like in reading and listening. Here, in writing and speaking, you are giving information to whom? To the others. Well, in writing, okay, the full stops, commas, and other punctuation tools are very important here. And why is that? Because it just like in speaking, sometimes if you said some sentence and stopped and prepared to the next sentence, well, so stopping here, it means that you had finished the whole sentence and you are going to talk about the other one. And that's one point. How about title? Well, title might be regarded the head, the top of the whole thing that you are writing about. For example, article and so on, novel, play, and so on. Well, so is it important to write title? Well, it is too important here. In the exams, usually we get the titles in the question, write about this topic. Well, usually it comes with the quotation marks, paragraphs, underlined. So you had to remove all these things first before writing up on at the top of the answer. And what else? Well, as we said, punctuation is important, so the title is supposed to be written the first letters with the capital letters, and that's known for you. But the middle, top, central of the paper is supposed to be the place, position of the title. Can I change the title? For example, I know another title, but another topic, but the title is different here. Well, you couldn't. Why is that? Because in this case you had answered different topic. Even the topic could be the same. Try to write the same title that you had received with the question, required one. Well, now let's talk about some obstacles that we could have in general, just like in English. In exams, well, I'm not going to talk about grammar, about vocabularies and so on. I'm going to talk about literature focus. Well, first question, second one, and the last question, all of those has something to do with what? Literature. And I forgot about also the focus, literature focus, which comes about probably 50th question. So you see that most of the questions has something to do with literature. So focusing only about grammar might be creating horrible mistakes for the students, by the teacher sometimes, and by the student himself. Well, the first question, which is unreaded paragraphs and the story and so on. Just reading, just like reading school, just like we had cover. And the last question, well, final question, how to write, for example, letter, how to write an essay, an article about any topic that you probably had studied in new stage. Well, just keep it in your mind. You don't have to write it 100%, just like you had kept it by heart, because most of the students do it in this way. So you can make some changes if you know how to do it. Well, so how about literature focus? In literature focus, let's talk about the other stages. Well, sometimes teachers asking students to read about life of the author. Either way, he was a poet, he was write play, so it doesn't matter. The author sometimes imitate his life in his own written, but his life in literature, in science, is not as much important as used before. Why is that? Well, I cannot learn how to write a poem by just reading life of the poet. Well, there is no information, no useful information in his own life. If I would like to learn how to write a poem, or how to read a poem, or how to understand the meaning of that poem. So plots, themes, other things are much important than the life of the author. Life of the author probably has been mentioned a lot in the literature focus, which is unnecessary actually. There's one book I had read before. It was called The Death of the Author, which means that the writer, the poet, the playwright, any other writer, he would sign his own death warranty as at the same time he starts writing his own book, which means his life, his name are not important anymore. The language which is speaking, not the author. Well, I'm not saying that I agree 100% about this theory, but I'm saying that the life of the author and the the events that he had faced in his life sometimes reflected his own writing, sometimes, but it's not all the time. So try to focus more about, or concentrate more about the works that he has done. Well, I'm not saying that the system is totally wrong and need to be replaced or to be changed, but I'm saying that it has some leaks that are supposed to be fixed first. In primary school, just like in Arabic, we didn't use English in proper way. We just used the grammatical approach for giving information to the students, or the audio approach, but those are not useful anymore. So, for example, just like in other countries, there are some homeworks about how to write a poem depending on the stress and stress, and sometimes just like listen to one song. So this song probably has the same meters that we can follow to write a poem. You know that meters are important to write any poem in any language. Just like in Arabic we call it تفعيلة علم العروض, and in English we call it meters. So how to measure it, how to divide it. Well, some people say, well, I don't want to write a poem, I don't need it, I don't like it. In this case, you can't read poetry properly in this case if you didn't know the rhythms and rhymes of poetry. Why? Because you will read it just like prose, and that's it. It's not poem anymore if you didn't know how to separate the stress and how to stop it, how to continue. The meters are much important than just meaning and themes. Why? Because it's poetry. You're not talking about stories. You're not talking about rhetorical information, rhetorical expressions. It is poetry. So the music, the intonation, the stress, the meters, all these things, rhyme and rhythms, all these things are supposed to be much, much important than the just themes, life of the author, of the poet. Well, I hope that had covered some useful information for you, and by God willing, we'll meet again another time. Thank you.